didn't want to make her into some kind of unrealistic, a perfect woman, because I think we are more inspired by people who have their human flaws and yet rise above their weaknesses.
How did Jindan's companionship help you tide over this period? And when did you actually chance upon her story for the first time?
I was in Kolkata for a literary festival. I was launching The Forest of Enchantments, and I had just gone to the venue a little early, and I was listening to the person who was presenting before me, and that was Anita Anand, and she was presenting the book that she and William Dalrymple had written on the Kohinoor. And as she was speaking about the Kohinoor, she happened to mention that the Kohinoor had belonged to Prince Dalip. And then she put on the screen the picture of Jindan, the painting of Jindan, which then ended up on my cover. And that is her most famous portrait. When I looked at that portrait, and Anita is talking about how she was so badly mistreated by the British and how Dalip was taken away from her and she was imprisoned, and then he was taken even farther away, and then finally to England along Kohinoor. Everything was taken away, and yet she didn't give up, and finally they would be reunited. And when I heard just that part of the story, I don't know, it just resonated in me. First of all, because I'm a mother, just the thought of your child being snatched away from you, that was horrifying. But also the fact that she never gave up. She was in prison. Yes. The British imprisoned her. They took away all the people who were close to her, even Mangla, her favorite maidservant. I mean, what could Mangla do in prison? She would have given her some comfort. They didn't want that. They wanted to break her spirit. But she wouldn't allow her spirit to be broken. And during this period of COVID and quarantine, when so many of the things we do were taken away from us, we couldn't do them anymore. I thought about her. I thought about her in that British prison and how she drew upon her inner strength. And I think that gave me some strength. All of a sudden, things like research had become very difficult during this COVID period. And I said, no, I just have to keep on with this book. And somehow or other, by God's grace, I will do it. And she was a great inspiration. And so I really wrote the second half of this novel during quarantine.
The Last Queen is very multi-layered in the sense it's the love story of a king and a commoner, and a tale about loyalty and betrayal, and a parable of a bond between the mother and the child. Now, which aspect intrigued and interested you the most?
One of the things that was helpful was that Jindan's life itself, it was sectioned into these different roles that she played. So in the beginning, she is the bride. She is, she's this beautiful young girl who is so charismatic that Maharaja Ranjit Singh falls in love with her. And she is just the daughter of the kennel keeper, basically the dog trainer in the Killa. So, she had to be someone really special for him to notice her, fall in love with her, and decide to marry her. He could have made her into a concubine. He had a lot of concubines. But he gave her the respect of making her his last wife. And that was the last person he married. And he says in the book that you are going to be the one. I don't want any other wives after this. So it's so beautiful, right? So that's the first portion of her life. The middle portion of her life is very up and down because he's dead. The son that doesn't like her is now on the throne. His mother is a great enemy of hers. She knows she's in grave danger. She knows she has to protect her child. So the whole middle section of the book is her just trying to protect her child and survive. And then when all of the others, through fighting, through treachery, all the other heirs to the throne are gone, now she has to take over. And then she becomes the queen. Then she's the queen regent. She has to take on a whole other persona. And she learns to do that. And after that, she becomes the prisoner. She becomes the refugee. She has to escape. She escapes from her prison and she has to go into she has to go into another country, basically. She has to go to Nepal. That's the only place she can be safe. So her life itself is broken into these very interesting, almost like full lives in themselves, except one woman went through all of this. And the one thing that is, I think, a connector is her spirit through all of these things. She just has so much confidence in herself. She just has so much, I don't know, I will do it, that kind of, I will get through this, I will do it, I will not give up, that kind of spirit. And that was very inspiring for me. Now, that spirit also makes her do some bad things. Okay? She's not a
Yes.
perfect character.
Yes. I think it was very courageous on her part to address her loneliness and to fall in love again, and to sort of address her sexuality also. And also when it became a little dangerous, to step back. So I think there has been a balance between that also. What do you think?
When Lal Singh comes into the picture, and he is a courtier, he's been around for a while, she can see that he really likes her, but he is like looking at her like this queen. He has this kind of hero worship kind of love for her. But she's been, by this point, she has been a widow for many years. And she thinks, my whole life lies ahead of me. What can I do? I can't really marry someone because then I can't be queen regent anymore. And then what will happen to my son? So out of love for her son, she can't marry him. And then she says, but, I'm lonely. And I think that was something about her that I appreciated and I wanted to bring into the novel. I didn't want to make her into some kind of unrealistic, a perfect woman, because I think we are more inspired by people who have their human flaws and yet rise above their weaknesses. And that's kind of something I wanted to depict in her character, because she has the weaknesses, but she's honest about them.
Most successful books have been about women. Now, have you ever found yourself having to defend this choice of writing about women? And has it ever been flung at you like an accusation that you need to defend?
Yeah, people sometimes ask, and depending on who's asking, they're nicer or not so nice. They're like, so you think maybe it's because you can't really write men characters that you stay with women? So I have to express to them that it is a choice. And I think I've made that choice for a number of reasons. As you probably know, in the rest of my life as like beyond being a writer, as an activist also, I've been working with women's issues for a long time. And I think it's so important for women readers and men readers to have women who are role models, to have women who show us that people can survive in difficult times, that women don't have to be perfect, but they do deserve to be taken seriously and they do deserve respect. I think that's one of my life's purposes, to just make that truth more known to people, to just make people think about it. And one of the things that really makes me very happy, and this happened with both Palace of Illusions and Forest of Enchantments especially, is that my readers would write to me, fans would write to me and say, what was so nice about this book? I read it with my significant other, or I read it with my dad, and we discussed it. And this kind of, I think, cross-gender discussion is very, very healthy, because it allows everybody in a culture to start accepting these portraits of women who are perhaps outside the box a little bit.
Yes.
And for people to say, yes, it's fine for women to be like that. It's fine for women, to reach for whatever stars shine brightest for them in their sky.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any videos by us.